Untitled Basketball Podcast, also known as M.O.B Podcast, episode 96. I'm Evan.
I'm Ja.
And it's our basketball podcast. We recap, break down, and analyze the players and teams from the previous games from the previous day. How are you this Tuesday, Ja?
I'm surprised I feel kind of good.
Oh, what makes you feel good this Tuesday?
I don't know. I just feel good.
So nothing happened? You just...
No, nothing unique, nothing special. I just feel good for some reason. A mood could change in a couple of minutes, but yeah.
I was gonna say something, but never mind. Well, I'm glad you're doing good. I'm doing good as well. I hope everyone's having a good day. Everyone will have a good day, doing better than the New York Knicks and Knicks fans. Half of me is good, I guess. A lot of basketball to discuss. In terms of the NBA games, as I say a lot, but in terms of like what happened in the games, a lot, but the games itself, not a lot of basketball games. Because, I mean, it was the national championship last night between Gonzaga and Baylor, so, they had to focus a lot of their attention on that. So, what's the saying? You play with the cards you're dealt, or something like that?
You have to play with the cards you've been dealt with.
Yeah, he was probably alive when he said that, so... All right, let's get into some NBA basketball. First, starting off with these New York Knicks going against the Brooklyn Nets, the Battle of New York. Unfortunately, it started off on a bad note, at least for the Nets, because James Harden did go out with an injury very early into the game, a leg injury, and he did not return. It didn't seem to be serious, but it seemed serious enough to have him not come back into the game.
Yeah.
And he just missed some time. The biggest thing for this Nets probably to stop them is going to be injuries.
Yeah.
So that's just unfortunate. Hopefully he can get healthy and get well soon, or at least get healthy when it matters the most, which, when it matters the most. But in terms of the actual game, the Knicks got out to the hot start, especially in that second quarter where they really just took control. Julius Randle was making plays, scoring the basketball, and getting his assists. Reggie Bullock was on fire from three, as well as the entire Knicks team. And the Nets found themselves down by double digits at halftime. And third quarter hit, and the Nets, led by Kyrie Irving, put on a show in the Barclays Center. Let this comeback, got out in front of the Knicks, and the fourth quarter, back and forth ensued, and the Knicks found themselves trailing, trying to lead that comeback, and came down to the last few possessions in which the Knicks were down by 3. Alec Burks hit a big 3 to tie the game, and the Knicks chose to double team Kyrie as he was on fire, as I mentioned. Get the ball out of his hands, rush shot by Joe Harris, but a rebound by Jeff Green and a foul in which he made both free throws. Had the Knicks down by 2 with about 3 seconds left. The Knicks had a chance to tie the game or take the lead. They chose to attempt to tie it. Julius Randle got out to the spot, had a good look, but it did not fall. And as a result, the Nets do pick up the win, the Battle of New York, sweeping the Knicks season series, winning by 2 points. Your thoughts?
Yeah, the Knicks started off well. They did really big time. Again, just like what you said, up by halftime, up by double digits at halftime. But yet, I think you said it best. Kyrie, again, it's only so much you could do to look at. It's crazy, right? But this is how talented and how really good this Nets team is offensively. There's only so much you could do. Or so it's only a certain amount of time you could it only gets to a certain point in which you could contain them. Because then when the moment they hit their stride and they find their rhythm and their flow, they're back into it. They did this a great amount of times already throughout this whole season, in which they found themselves down by a good amount of points. And then as we say nowadays, the third quarter is the most important quarter. They were able to make a comeback. And mainly specifically because of Kyrie and the show that he was putting on.
Yeah, Kyrie had 40 in that game from last night, and yeah, they was having a tough time trying to stop him. Every time they tried to double him, the Nets were getting themselves in position to where it would be hard for them to double him once he got to his spot. It was just a mismatch all night, no matter who you put on Kyrie. He's always a mismatch. The skill that he has, the display that he can put on, it's just a masterclass performance whenever he wants to.
And it doesn't make it better when you go on a little bit of a cold spell. Don't get me wrong, the Knicks were able to bounce back a little bit midway through that fourth, but they went on kind of a dry spell within that third quarter and towards the beginning of the fourth.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes the Knicks, they hit these stretches where, like we said, but their defense obviously probably the best defensive team in the league.
Yeah.
But they hit these spells where when the team that they're playing hits their stride and start making their comeback, and the Knicks defense isn't the best, it's like their offense just disappears.
Exactly.
Which I guess goes to show you like the Knicks really rely on their defense a lot. You see this, you hear this term a lot in terms of basketball. Defense can create your offense.
Yeah.
And with the Knicks, it seems like that is the case because when their defense isn't helping them, they just go cold.
Exactly.
It's really frustrating sometimes, especially as a Knicks fan. Really frustrating, especially when sometimes they cannot get key defensive rebounds down the stretch.
Exactly.
I mean, they forced the stop when it was tie game. They got the ball out of Kyrie's hands. That's the number one thing you wanted to do. Got the ball out of Kyrie's hands. Now Joe Harris, he's a dangerous three-point shooter, but now you chase him off the three-point line. Okay, so now that increases your chances of what you call it?
Of getting the opportunity to get the rebound
Yes.
and push it for next play. Yes.
Yes. And he takes the shot and he misses, but Jack got to get the rebound.
Yeah.
Said Jeff Green gets the rebound and he gets fouled and then he makes both free throws. And I knew they was gonna lose the game after that. Once he got fouled, I knew he was gonna lose the game. I had it in my mind. I was like, come on, man.
Yeah, it bad foul at the wrong moment. I understand hard nose, but you gotta be more wiser within time management.
It's not even about the foul. Who fouled him? Was it Payne? Was it quickly?
I think it was Bullock. No,
yeah.
wait.
In fact, but I'm not even like upset about the foul. He was just trying to go up for a block. I'm just more upset about not getting the rebound.
Yeah.
You got to secure your rebounds. Rebounds probably one of the most underrated parts of the game.
Yeah.
Not getting rebounds loses you games.
Well,
and this they got that stop. They get the rebound. They call timeout. Who knows? Maybe you go home and win, or you go into overtime.
Yeah. Well, I say this to end it off. I heard Charles Barkley talk about it big time. He said, "People don't usually talk about it, but in order to win a game, the two most important aspects you got to focus on is rebounding and limiting turnovers. If you do not out rebound the other team, you're not going to win. If you commit a lot of turnovers, you're not going to win. Those are crucial. They're underrated, but they're really crucial within moments. Just like how it is with a free throw, getting a bucket down the stretch or whatsoever. They're real crucial because they could change or alter the course of a game real quickly.
Yeah, I just thought something in my head, but yeah, you're right about that.
Now I want to know a little bit, but
last name Anderson. Anyway, yeah, that along with Kyrie having that show, leading that comeback in that third quarter, all led to the Knicks' downfall and the Nets' eventual victory. Like I said, sweeping the New York series against the Knicks.
Yep.
But all right, that was the only primetime game of the night. It was a lot of interesting basketball games besides that one. So which one would you like to go over first?
I would like to talk about the Wolves versus the Kings, and mainly because of one specific reason. Ice water in his veins.
He's back.
Russell has returned, and he balled out. He balled out in limited minutes. He balled out. I believe he had 23 on the night. 23,
25.
25 on the night. Just straight up like, and he took advantage of that time real well. Like, you know what I mean? And it's crazy because he came off the bench too. Which is like, I think they kind of did that even before he sat out for parts of the season, because they did put Ricky Rubio in the starting lineup just to experiment, I believe. But man, he's shown why he's one of the talented, underrated guards in the league, in my opinion. And he has shown it time and time again, and he established it tonight. But let's just talk about the game as a whole. De'Aaron Fox balled out, and it was a close battle in the beginning of that first half. Then the Kings, as the third quarter hit, the Kings had their push, but it's the Kings. And
yep, you said it best.
And from that point on, you know what happened there.
Sacramento, just a sad team, sad loss. But on the good side, nice to see that D'Lo is back and playing well. Hopefully, this Minnesota Timberwolves team can stay healthy, and finally we can get some more of Karl-Anthony Towns and D'Lo playing together.
Yeah, if they decide to put him back into the starting lineup,
they will. Come on, D'Lo ain't no 6-man to Ricky Rubio. Come on, man. That's all due respect to Ricky Rubio, but yeah, D'Angelo Russell, he's,
But here's the thing now you got to find a way for him, Towns, and Edwards to all implement each other.
Yeah. And then when Malik Beasley starts playing consistently, they got to figure it out. Because Malik Beasley, I think he was their top scorer before he got suspended and before Cat came back.
Yes, he was.
So it's interesting, I guess, situation they got in Minnesota, but they got some talent. If they all stay healthy, it should be a wild ride there.
Yeah.
All right. Next game.
The next game I'd like to talk about is the Jazz versus the Mavericks. And again, as we alluded to last episode, this was, as we said, it was going to be a tough battle, and it became a tough battle. And basically, this should be honest, the Mavericks had it from start to finish. They just had it from start to finish. Don't get me wrong. The Jazz started to, one thing for sure you can never say about this Jazz team is that they don't have fight when it comes up to adversity moments, because they always continue to prove time and time again in adverse moments, they're going to continue to fight their way back until the end.
Yep, and that's what happened in that fourth quarter.
Yep, and that's what happened in that fourth quarter. Conley, Clarkson, they came up with big-time shots, but again, the Mavericks just had it from their starter lineup to the bench. Brunson had a good game. Tim Hardaway had a good game. Luka was just being Luka. No Porzingis, and they was just flat out balling.
Yeah, really impressed with how the Mavericks played. Remember the last time the Mavericks and the Jazz played, the Jazz blew them out the water.
Yeah,
and they just dominated them. But that was when the time when the Mavericks kind of struggling, need to find themselves. And now, for the past 2 months, they have really found themselves.
Yeah,
playing great basketball. They have tightened up their defense. They're not like a great defensive team, but they are so much better than they were early in the season.
Yeah,
almost like a bend don't break type of defense.
Yeah.
Obviously they have a great offense, Luka Doncic, and like you said, they had no Porzingis, and they was able to beat this Jazz team in a pretty convincing way. Also, a player that you didn't mention, Dorian Finney-Smith, who had himself a big night too, had 22 points, and he really stepped up in the absence of Porzingis.
Yeah, he was balling out also. My bad. I skipped off right in my head. Sorry.
It happens. It happens to me too all the time. He's like, who? Yeah, oh yeah, LeBron. All right. Yeah. The last game? No, not the last game. The next game, second to last.
The next game I'd like to talk about is the Rockets versus Suns, and
why?
It was really an offensive battle. It was honestly, no defense being played whatsoever. I believe the Phoenix Suns had 4 players in double-digit figures that had over 20 points, or 5. One of those
It was
two.
it was 4. Well, 3, but the fourth had 19. Chris Paul had 19.
Yeah.
So.
And I believe he had a double-double. But
yes,
yeah,
he did.
the first quarter started off as a close battle. Second quarter, the Suns basically were able to have a comfortable lead. Then, as the third quarter hit, the Rockets, surprisingly, they actually start to fight their way back.
Yep.
The best team in the league. The best team in the league.
The best team in the league.
The best team in the league start to fight their way back from 3-point shooting to attacking the rim. They were able to fight their way back. And then it became in that fourth quarter, it became once again a duel between the two. And then the Phoenix, thanks to mainly Devin Booker, looked like they was going to take this game at the end. And then, defensive stops. And then, next thing, I believe Avery Bradley hits a 3. Then Kelly Olynyk, who has been shocking a little bit of people since been on this Rockets team, hit a 3. And then, it became a close game from there. They get a defensive stop on Devin Booker. I believe that was Avery Bradley. And then he had another opportunity, but Christian Wood got fouled, went to the line, made 2, and then basically they did a smart idea. The Phoenix Suns basically fouled Christian Wood to stop any opportunity of tying this game. So as a result, the Phoenix were able to get it back, and they were able just to end the game from right there.
Yep. Really tough battle, surprisingly. But I guess not surprisingly because it's always tough battles in the NBA. You never know what to expect.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Suns survive Houston Rockets. All right, the last game to go over extensively. The Washington Wizards and the Toronto Raptors.
This is the Toronto Raptors, and the Wizards started off so good, and then Toronto just looked like as if they were the Toronto of old.
Championship Toronto Raptors.
Yeah, championship Toronto Raptors. They basically started to make their comeback, make their stride, and it became a close battle. I believe in that fourth quarter, Westbrook, who had it going for most of this game, didn't score a field goal until that, or he was 0 for 7 until he made a layup. He made a layup. Then, he makes a big time 3 to give the Wizards back the lead down that stretch. And the Wizards had an opportunity to basically seal away this game. And then they choked. And that final possession that they had offensively, they choked.
Yep. Neto did a reverse layup, missed it.
And then I forgot. Somebody tried to, I don't know the name, but somebody tried to recover the rebound. And then he fumbled it. And next thing it lands in Toronto's hands.
Gary Trent Jr.'s hands. Newly acquired Toronto Raptor.
Yeah, newly acquired Toronto Raptors, straight from the Blazers. A shooting threat, mind you. Let me keep this in mind. A shooting threat coming down the court, and this tells you that they can't guard a parked car. Leaves Gary Trent wide open. Time running down. He pulls it, and this. Do I have to like? Is it a surprise? I think we know what we alluding to at this point. Just straight up pulls it, hits it, game over at the buzzer.
Yep. The reason why he was wide open because Neto tried to flop and on a key possession, defensive possession in which he had position. And as a result, Gary Trent was wide open. And to be fair, now I was looking back at it. Gary Trent did kind of lean with his right arm.
Yeah.
In Neto's chest area. But that's too risky to try to flop in that point. Unless it's like a charge head of steam into the paint area.
Exactly.
I would not do that. That's too risky. You don't know if they're gonna call that. It would have been better if he just played defense. I mean, he was in good position too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But here's my thing. You make that decision to do that, but why do that knowing that not only okay, look at Gary Trent might not be a household name or big time name or anything, But this is a dude who people know as a 3-point threat, who has been having a really good season this season, especially from the three. Why would you try to make that kind of risk, knowing that regardless of what happens, if he gets off that shot, it's a 50-50. And he's a really good, and again, he's a really good 3-point shooter. So why make that kind of sacrifice to try to go for a flop instead of just continue to stay in your defensive stance? I know you said he did the elbow, but still, it don't matter. You still stay on your assignment at all times until the ball lets go. He's stupid for that. That's all I gotta say.
That wasn't the best decisions for Neto. And as a result, like I said, Gary Trent hitting the buzzer beater and giving the Toronto Raptors the lead and the win. And by the way, I believe they were down 18 in that game.
They were down 18. The Wizards were up by double digits points, and again, they look like the Wizards of how they've been doing this whole season. Just breaking hearts.
They miss Bradley. I can say that. Miss Bradley did a lot. They're all-star. But still, I mean, damn. Just embarrassing watching these Wizards sometimes. But all right. Slow news from last night. So let's just go straight into the slow news. No news.
There's no news.
Yeah, no news. All right. Predictions for tonight's set of games. More games than last night. So let's get into it. First, starting with the Chicago Bulls going up against the Indiana Pacers.
I'm going to choose Indiana.
I'm going to choose the Bulls. Both teams need a win, as you know, it's coming that time.
Yeah.
It's coming that time. And both teams need this win over the other team.
Yeah.
The Pelicans going up against the Hawks.
If Zion and BR are playing, I got the Pelicans. If not, I got the Hawks.
Same and agreed. Hopefully Pelicans win because the Knicks need them to win. Because the Hawks are kind of high in the standings. But first, primetime game of the night, TNT 7:30. The Philadelphia 76ers going up against the Boston Celtics in a rematch from the first round of the bubble. Philly. I think Embiid is playing too because it's not a back-to-back. So, yeah. The Lakers going up against the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors. The Grizzlies going up against the Miami Heat. The Grizzlies. Hopefully the Grizzlies win because the Heat also need to lose. But that's not my reason for picking them. The Pistons going up against the Nuggets. The second primetime game of the night, TNT 10 o'clock. It is the Milwaukee Bucks led by Giannis going up against the Golden State Warriors led by Curry.
I got Curry and the Warriors.
And I got Giannis and the Bucks. And lastly, the Portland Trail Blazers going up against the Los Angeles Clippers.
I'm going to go with the underdog. I got
to go with Portland. They got one more seat for him in Cancun. I got the Trailblazers as well, going with the underdog.
Okay, wait, what seat? The Trailblazers are no, they're not the 6th seed yet.
The Trailblazers are the 6th seed.
6th seed? Oh, I'm bugging.
Trailblazers are the 6th seed.
And the Clippers are the 3rd seed.
Yes.
So you know what that means if the playoffs were to start today.
Yes, if the playoffs were to start today, even though Trailblazers are half a game back by the Lakers. So who knows? Anything's possible.
Cancun battle.
Yeah,
I like Cancun battle.
All right. I think it's time to wrap things up. Any final thoughts?
I just want to say one thing. I think Kyrie should retire. That was probably the most idiotic statement I ever heard.
Come on, man. Leave that to them.
That was so embarrassing.
Just let them be. Let the media personalities.
Look at man. I look. I'm just saying. I was like watching. I was like, well, just a month ago, this dude. Wait, he said it like a month or 2 months ago, right? When
When Kyrie should retire, about a month
yeah,
and
about
a
a
half.
month and a half. Yeah, I know
I think
he's
so.
really regretted. Let me say something. Stephen A. don't regret a lot of things, but I know he's most definitely regretted making that statement.
You don't regret that because ESPN told him to say that.
Oh, speaking of ESPN and stuff and people.
That's it. That is all. That being said, thank you guys for watching today's podcast. Make sure you tune into tomorrow's podcast. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
And make sure to follow IG down in the description below.
Yes, follow IG down in the description below. And once again, I am Evan.
And I'm Ja.
And this is the Mind and Basketball Podcast.